Every semester, I start by getting to know my students, who are millennials, by the way. That will be important later. And I ask them a very simple question. Why did you come to college? And they look at me a little strange, like, shouldn't you know that? You're my teacher. But they answer in the same robotic way every semester. To get a job so I could be successful. Now, this concerns me because this tells me that we're still spreading a narrative that says college equates success. Does it? Because more millennials have their college degree than any other generation, and they're the ones struggling the most after college. I was one of those millennials who struggled to find a job applicable to my degree, to live on my own and pay back my student loans. The struggle was very real. In 2014, I saw this statistic that I'm going to share with you, and brace yourself, it's extremely depressing. A Gallup Poll surveyed that about 70% of Americans are disengaged at work. In other words, they are uncommitted, unenthusiastic about their work and workplace, a place they have to go to almost every day. Now, the more concerning part to me was, out of all generations surveyed, millennials were identified as the most disengaged and the least likely to report that they were in a place to do what they do best. So why is this happening? I have a theory, and I'm going to share with you today. A lot of young people are experiencing what I playfully like to call post-traumatic school disorder. It's real. And those of you that have graduated know it's real. Those of you that haven't graduated, you'll know soon enough. So I'm hoping this helps you through the process. Ken Robinson once described our school systems as a factory line, where things are labeled, compartmentalized, and pushed through the system just like products in a factory. And then overnight, we expect them to function in a world that operates nothing like the school system does. It's absurd. And there aren't any guidance counselors or a list of unit requirements to help them along the way. Instead, there's lots of expensive therapy and lots of antidepressants. So in addition to this PTSD, though, is the way we define success as a culture. As a country, we define success and we value high achievement. We show that through our level of education, specific careers, and our ability to obtain certain materialistic items of monetary value. These parameters of success are extremely limiting, and ultimately they fuel those antagonistic voices we all have in our head. You know them, the one that tells you what major you should pick, what job you should take. The thing is, this drove me crazy. So I did, I guess, what any sane person would do. I opened a dictionary and I said, well, what does the dictionary say about success? And this is what it said. The correct or desired result of an attempt. That's it. What you desire is going to be different than what I desire. Therefore, success is subjective. And sometimes the things we want aren't traditional, and there isn't a clear path on how to get there. So we fear going down that uncharted territory, and we choose not to because of the higher risk of failure, that higher risk of uncertainty, disappointment, disapproval from society and the people we love most. But the more we fear failure, and we go to great lengths to avoid experiencing it, the more we fear it, the further you end up straying from the things that you really want and the things that make you happy. And then, soon enough, not only are we disengaged in our jobs, we're disengaged in our lives. And we settle. And we settle because we think it's safe. Or we settle because you think it's too late. So today I'm going to tell you that it's not too late. And you don't have to settle. I'm going to share with you 3 things that you will not learn inside of a traditional classroom, but you will absolutely need in order to create a life outside of it. The first thing, self-awareness. Sounds a lot easier than it is. Self-awareness is simply the conscious knowledge of who you are and what you want. Now, it alarmed me when a lot of young people, my students in particular a couple years ago, had no idea how to start this process. And I had no idea how to help them. But together we created this really cool exercise I call the triangle exercise. I know, really original name. Bear with me. We start with the base of the triangle. This is what I call your core. We develop this part first because these are the things that are unapologetically important to who you are. You cannot function without them. They are your air. These are your food for your soul. After we establish that, we move on to the sides of the triangle. First, we start with the lifestyle side. And my students get really carried away here because they list the kind of house they want, the cars, everything. But that's what I want them to do. So simply components that would make up the type of lifestyle you want. And then after that, we move on to the career side. And you'll notice that I have a focus on characteristics. I don't ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because the truth of the matter is there's so many jobs you don't even know exist. And for example, this job. Did you know you could be a food stylist at $77,000 a year? Yeah, I got in the wrong field for sure, right? Who would have thought all those food porn posts on your Instagram, you know who you are, could be useful someday? The point of this whole exercise is to get them thinking, to see, are the sides of my triangle working together, or are they competing against each other? And more importantly, I want you to be able to prioritize what things are worth sacrificing, because sometimes you're going to have to give up something on one end to have something on the other. But you got to know what things are non-negotiable, which things are you not willing to sacrifice. So that's the point of this exercise, just to kind of be a compass for you. Now, many of my students love to tell me their plans, and I love to hear their plans after college. We all have them. But the problem is, their plans look like this. Very linear. And those of us who've had some life experience know that life sees your cute little plan and says, oh, how cute. And then this happens. And then you're thinking, what in the world? This was not the plan. I never planned to be a teacher. I never planned to be on this stage. But here I am. So the second thing we're going to talk about is resilience. The ability to recover quickly from difficulties. Because your plans will look like this, and that's okay. One way to develop resilience, well, actually, I first wanted you to know this, that for a long time it was believed that resilience was innate. You either had it or you don't. But psychology and psychiatry research is showing us that you can develop resilience. It does not have to be an innate characteristic. And the way we do this is by practicing mindfulness, which is not very easy. Mindfulness means paying attention to the present moment as it unfolds without judging. Take a moment to try to practice that just right now, 2 seconds. And then that little monkey chatter comes back in, right? Is 2 seconds up yet? A good way to practice is by starting by being mindful of our thoughts. Ask yourself, are my thoughts mostly negative or are they mostly positive? Because those of us who experience more positive emotions, we have the ability to broaden our minds and open our minds to more options. So when life gets sticky, gets messy, those positive people navigate through it a lot faster. The last thing, the third thing, is about taking action. This whole conference is so fitting that it's about inspiring action. But inspiration is fleeting. So you'll be inspired today, but will you take action tomorrow? We got to find ways to hold ourselves accountable. And one way to do that is by, well, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's an arts and crafts project, okay? Bear with me. Most people will tell you to create goals and make a list of goals. I'm going to tell you, do not do that. Do not create a list of goals, but instead create a collage of pictures to represent your goals. And I want you to put that collage somewhere you will see it every day. Every single day. I don't know if it's the bathroom mirror, if it's the refrigerator, wherever it is. Every single day. And if you're thinking, Mel, I'm an adult, I don't do arts and crafts, hopefully you'll reconsider. Brain chemistry research tells us that we create deeper emotional attachments to pictures. And those pictures actually allow us to visualize the action. And that visualization ignites the same regions of your brain that are activated when you're actually performing the action. Your brain knows no difference. That's why instead of saying that you want to hike the summit of Half Dome, I want you to print out a picture of what it will look like to be at the top. By a raise of hands, I need your cooperation. Who has once said something to the effect of, someday I would love to travel to blank. Someday I would love to try blank. Keep your hand up and look around. Every single person should have their hand up, and if it is not, don't trust them because they must not be human, okay? It's human nature. We do this. I don't know if it's because we're arrogant or if it's because we're hopeful that the someday we want to backpack through Europe comes before the someday that we die. Morbid, right? But reality. Let that soak in. I'm going to challenge you to stop using someday. Instead of saying someday I want to write a book, say that you'll write 5 pages a week for 6 months, because that's a timeline and that is measurable. This will not be easy. This is one of the hardest parts. Nobody can do this for you. Will you accomplish all your goals? Absolutely not. You will fail, and you will fail miserably sometimes. But I would rather have a life full of failed attempts than a life wondering what could have been. As millennials, we get a bad reputation. We really do. Time magazine once called us lazy, entitled narcissists who still live with their parents. Ouch, right? How rude, Time magazine. Well, you know what? This is also true. Millennials, more than any other generation, have a bigger focus on quality of life. And that is a truly commendable quality to have as an entire generation when we live in a society that tells us otherwise. And if we can hold on to this quality, I truly believe that we can begin changing the narrative of success in this country. It won't be easy, but look how many of us there are. We are the largest the largest generation. We have the power to do that. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. I want to be clear in saying I'm not telling you to drop out of college. That is not what I'm saying. Don't go home and say that I said that. Without you, I don't have a job, and I like my job. What I'm saying is this. While you invest in your education or your career to make a better living someday, don't forget to invest in yourself to make a better life. Thank you.